Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Laura Nelson. Mrs. Laura, how are you doing, ma?
I'm wonderful. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Laura. Firstly, you are an author. You are also a speaker. You are an entrepreneur. And you are also the co-founder of Sober Life Rocks. Can you please, ma, discuss more about yourself and how you're doing currently now, ma?
Yeah, so great. So I actually am in the dental industry. I've been in the dental industry for 20 plus years, and I became a speaker probably about 15 years ago, traveling around the country speaking at dental conferences and dental meetings, because I teach team members in dental offices, customer service and systems. About 5 years ago, I started having 5, 6 years ago questions about my relationship with alcohol, how much it was dominating my travel, my thought process, my energy, and stopped drinking in 2020, right before the world shut down for a while. Um, and then when I got back to traveling again and speaking again at conferences, I started to recognize how much of our professional environment is focused on drinking. A lot of our events in the evening and networking and all of the things are around alcohol and standing around and drinking. And I felt like it was quite a shame because I was going back to my room early where normally I would love to hang out and get to know people, but I no longer drank. And so a year ago, we started a new organization called Sober Life Rocks, and it's for professionals who either choose not to drink at work events, want to drink less, want better options for non-alcoholic adult options at professional events because many professional people have stopped drinking. Very proud of that fact that they've stopped drinking or drink less at events, but kind of keep it hidden in secret. And I don't think it should be something that's hidden anymore. I think it should be something that's celebrated. So Sober Life Rocks is around building a community. And then just 2 weeks ago, I launched my first book, or my first book in this area. It's my third book, and it's the Inclusive Event Planner. And that's for meeting planners, anyone hosting events, HR people, anyone in the conference setting who want to help build meetings that where everybody feels included, no matter what they drink. Because many meeting planners, they feel like in the evening everything has to be centered around alcohol. That's the thing to get people to come to the meetings. And I'm trying to show that we can actually build better meetings that aren't focused on the alcohol. You can still have the alcohol, but we can make our meetings much more inclusive. So that book just came out, which is the reason I think you and I connected, because I wanted to share it with the world.
Yes, I completely agree. I also even wanted to ask you, more about the exclusive event planner book that you have,
Mhm.
released of recent, and do you possibly have more book in the coming future, ma?
Do I have more books in the future?
Yes, ma'am.
Every time I write a book, this is my third book. I say this is the last book that I will write. I've written two in the business side of things. But I don't know. I guess I should never say never, but I don't have a plan for another book. I think this is the one that I'm hoping. This is kind of a passion project for me. This is what I really want to share with the world and change. And so I think I'm gonna kind of stick with this for a while and see what kind of impact I can make.
Right, thank you so much, Mrs. Lara. We all know that alcohol is one of the most, traumatized or one of the most important factors in the world we live today. So, why do you personally think alcohol is so deeply ingrained in social gathering and celebrations now?
Well, I mean, there's a whole, this could go on for 2 hours. I could talk about that. But really, it has to do, I believe, with societal norms, quote unquote. Like it's just what's considered normal. If you think about it, it's the only drug that we use in our lives where people want to know why you're not doing it. Why are you not drinking? Here, have a drink. And we wouldn't treat any other drug that way. So societally, it has just become a norm. I believe that big alcohol, so the companies that have the money behind the alcohol, advertise it and market it in such a way that it makes us feel like we are going to subconsciously fill a void that we're missing. Be rich, be famous, be good looking, be less stressed, be more fun. And so we're getting subconsciously advertised regularly from it. Society as a norm, no, is good with it and pushes it. And then we've been raised with it our whole life, from the time we were children, our parents or other people saying this is an adult drink. When you get older, you can have one. And it has become so much of our subconscious that we don't even stop to think, do I like it? Does it serve me? Is it good for my life? Is it making me stronger and better and happier? And it doesn't. It really doesn't. But the idea of not having it, and that was the issue for me when I was deciding to stop drinking. I was really afraid of what life would be like without it. And life is 100 times better without it now, but it's scary when it's just always been part of your life and part of what we're used to.
That was also even personally brought me to the point of societal pressures. There will be a lot of pressures in the society when it comes to drinking. So,
Yep.
what do you think are some common challenges in dealing with societal pressures around alcohol? And have you personally faced any challenges like that, ma?
Oh yeah, that is part of the reason why we started Sober Life Rocks is to build a community to help people with those challenges. Because when you first decide not to drink or try not to drink, maybe do it 30 days or 60 days, that's a personal decision. You decide as a person, maybe it's time to take a break or let me just see how I feel without it. But then you have to deal with the peer pressure, and peer pressure is real. Why aren't you drinking? And have another one, and showing up to events, and being comfortable enough to say no thank you, and deal with that. And that's why I believe so many people go to events and they sort of hide the fact that they don't drink alcohol. They mask their drink with a lime and they just skirt around the discussion around what's in their cup, and or they don't even go because alcohol is so present and such a big factor. And we do have to recognize that alcohol is an addictive substance. I mean, there is depending on how much you drink, there is the overcoming the addiction. And so that can be very hard in the beginning. And it makes it really hard for people who are even considering the idea of taking a break or not drinking, because we've got our own internal battle. We're battling an addictive substance, and then we're battling society. So the pressure is real, and the concern is real. But what I'm hoping to do, and many others in this sober world, is to talk about it and to show like it can be done and it is worth it. And you're not doing this alone. There are plenty of people who don't drink. We don't advertise it, we don't talk about it, we don't share it. And so I'm thankful for like this, for your ability to be able to, for me to share it. Like, I've overcome it. I can go anywhere now and not drink, and I'm better for it. And anybody who's battling that thought or that pressure, to know that there's other people who've gone before and are there to support.
Completely agree. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lara. And a lot of people will be like, can I too also, personally get boundaries, maybe minimize or control myself when I drink alcohol instead of possibly avoiding it? How do you think someone can set boundaries while still maintaining their social connection, ma?
Yeah, sure. So that is actually what I'm hoping will happen over the next, 5, 10, 20 years, is that people can learn to set boundaries. They can self-control so that they don't
Mm.
get to the point where the alcohol addiction is dominating their life. And so one of the more recent research has shown, it's not whether you're an alcoholic or not. It's not you have it or you don't. It's not, it is alcohol use disorder. And alcohol use disorder is a spectrum, right? And so anybody who's drank too much, drank for the wrong reason, regretted drinking is on the spectrum, but you can catch yourself before it's too late. And so setting boundaries, one of the things that I suggest is try to take a break, try to do 30 days or just take 7 days to start. If 30 days is overwhelming, take a 7 day break and just see how you feel and see how you do and really start to become aware. Awareness, you can't change things you're not aware of. And so by, starting to question your relationship with alcohol, wonder about your relationship with alcohol, put up boundaries, see if you can keep those boundaries, see if you stay true to yourself, and that's great. Maybe you can balance, you know, just having alcohol once in a while or a certain amount. For me, it got to the point where I had so much energy around that, the boundaries, that I felt like I was wasting so much time and energy around the boundaries. It was just easier to eliminate it from my life. But that doesn't have to be the solution for everyone.
Yes, I completely agree. Thank you so much, Mrs. Laura. And alcohol is one thing that people will be like, you said someone can take a break. Do you think, engaging in groups that doesn't revolve around alcohol also really help in, covering the space of someone not, going into alcohol anymore?
Yeah. So, and that is where, when you do an assessment, looking at your family, your
Mm,
friends, your environment makes a big impact. And as personal decisions, many of us can make decisions not to hang around with that group of people or not to put ourselves in a situation where we might drink too much or alcohol is the dominant thing that we're doing. And that is actually another reason why Sober Life Rocks exist, because in our personal lives, we have a lot more control. But in our professional lives, many times we don't have that ability to control that. We can't avoid conferences or evening events or dinner because it's work. We have to do what's, expected of us at work. But yes, I think that when you really look at why you're drinking, how much you're drinking, when you're drinking, a lot of it does have to do with your environment. Your cult, your the people around you, who you hang out with, who you have the strongest relationships with, and sometimes it means maybe picking different environments, picking different groups to hang out with for a while, ones that serve you better than just relying or leaning into the alcohol.
thank you so much, ma. And we are the younger generations. I do not know how younger generations are also viewing alcohol today. Do you know with the older ones? How do you think younger generations are approaching alcohol compared to the
Yep.
older generations now?
That is for sure proven fact that the younger generation studies show don't have the same relationship or interest in alcohol and
Okay.
not the way the older generations have. And I do think I kind of compare it to, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, smoking was very big. And there were big advertisements for cigarette companies, and they would show, good-looking people smoking cigarettes on a yacht or whatever. And now we've got it to the point where cigarettes are not advertised as like, amazing things. And people still smoke, but it's not as big of an issue because of so many of the changes that have happened over the last, 20, 30 years. I feel the same way with alcohol. I do believe that, the younger generation sees what alcohol is, sees what it does, leans more into health and mental health and physical health. And alcohol does not serve you in any way with your mental and physical health. And I do hope that talking about it and showing what is happening in our society will help to eliminate the amazingness of alcohol as cigarettes were in the past. But I will also say that I think the younger generation is going to have their issue in 10, 20, 30 years. And whether that is addiction to other things, addiction to our phones or to other substances. Like, I think each generation has their issue that you have to address. And I think right now for the older generation, I say older, I'm dating myself, but yeah, it is definitely more of an alcohol issue.
Yes, yes, I completely agree. Our younger one, we definitely have another type of addiction that does exist. Thank you so much, Mrs. Laura. And mindset is a very, very powerful thing. One mindset can definitely define every single step someone will take in his or her life. So, what more mindset shifts do you think can
So, oh, go ahead.
do you think can help someone feel empowered in their choice to avoid alcohol?
Yes. So, first is the mindset of awareness to just, if you're listening to this podcast and other podcasts that on this subject, to first just become aware. And then the second mindset is so many times when we're trying to change habits or do something different or do new things, and we aren't successful at it or we have challenges with it, our brain, our mindset tends to go to shame. We are no good, or this is too hard, or I can't do it. And when you're shameful around something, when you're in a negative mindset, what you're going to do is do that thing more. So if you're shaming yourself or putting pressure on yourself or making yourself wrong for the fact that you weren't going to drink and you drank, then you're probably going to drink more. So the second thing I would say with mindset is to be curious. That's it. Like, just start to recognize and look at, why am I drinking? What is the reasons why I decided to have the drink? What changes have I done that worked and can't and didn't work? And really just being curious and non-judgmental to yourself and loving to yourself, and realizing that if it was easy, then everybody would, not drink. It is an addictive substance, and give yourself some grace, because I think that mindset is going to go a lot further than a shame-based mindset.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mrs. Lara. And you said non-judging oneself. And some people might have the situation whereby they might feel judged by probably their friends, probably most especially friends, that they don't drink, you don't do this, you don't do that. So, what advice would you think you can give to someone who feels isolated or judged for not drinking?
hmm Well, first, it's getting confident in your responses when people are pushing back.
Mm,
Whether I like to go to humor, maybe you just need to have, just having a confidence in your response and your reason why. Even if it's because I can't because I'm taking medicine right now, or I can't because I have to get up early for work tomorrow, or whatever but being confident in your own decisions to try it. Second of all, I would say, we call it a sober wingman, but get somebody that supports you in your decision. Maybe they drink, but they still understand why you don't want to. So somebody who's kind of like, once we know we have somebody else who supports our decision, we no longer feel alone. And that's part of the thing, is we can feel really alone in times like that. So, talk with someone else, have somebody else in your corner that is supporting you in the decision not to drink or to drink less, or whatever the case may be. And then lastly, I would say listening to podcasts like this and getting connected to groups and following people who believe in what you believe or you're trying to do. Because just because other people are pressuring you to drink, or your friends or society, doesn't make it right. It's just the norm, right? And a lot of times the pressure people put on you is because they don't want to be alone drinking. They don't want to be, it's their own issue, it's
mm,
not yours. And so if you have the mindset of, you do you do what you want, I'm going to do what I want, and be strong in that decision. And then always have an exit plan. Always have a way that, maybe you show up to the event, to the friend, whatever you're doing, and there's too much pressure, it's too hard, you're whatever, always have an exit plan, have a reason to leave, have a way to get out, have a way to an excuse so that you don't stay and give in, but you've shown up, you've been involved, but it's time for you to go because at the end of the day, it's about taking care of you. And that's the most important person in the equation.
Yes, completely agree. Thank you so much, Mrs. Laura. And lastly, there's a question I normally ask now. From the ancestors, from the forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing will be, ma?
I would say, I don't know if this is a kind of more of a bigger picture thing, but a little bit of a slower lifestyle, a little less. I mean, it's amazing we're connected. You and I are on different sides of the world right now having this conversation, and that's great. But connection and technology and all of these amazing things that we have, I do miss the ability to disconnect and to slow down and to have a life where we go home at night and have dinner with our family and we don't know about all the world's troubles and all of the things going on around the world. So if I could bring anything back, it would be a little bit more of that feeling of homeness. I don't know what you want to say with that, but like just the ability to disconnect and to really embrace the things that are most important and centered in your life.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Laura. I also completely agree, and that is the main reason why we do not know what is going to come in the coming future. No, we're hearing of AI now. So I completely thank you. I completely thank you for the time and for bringing, speaking on this discussion when it comes to alcohol addiction and stuff like that. It does happen in every community we are in the world today. Thank you so much, Mrs. Laura.
Thank you so much for bringing me in and talking about this important subject.
All right, now. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.